Greetings. This is 28th of August 2025. It's almost 3 p.m. in my hometown. Anyway, welcome to the visions of my hidden universe, as I would like to say. So today, it's a bit fucking gaming talk, okay? Uh, I've been dragging on, drifting away too long, and I need to get back into gaming. Yeah, but these days, actually, if you ask me what I'm doing, I'm reading a bit, I'm watching some TV shows, and I got some paperwork to do. And anyway, interesting thing is Turkish government is really effective, and Turkish system is really fast compared to the other countries that I've seen in my life. It's regards in legal documents and the efficiency of digital systems. Anyway, uh, these days I'm actually mostly playing VICKY3, and it's been like 400, close to 450 hours, I think, and it's been a blast. And this got me thinking the differences between EU4, HOI4, and Victoria 3. I never got into Crusader Kings, although I should, but yeah, actually Crusader Kings was the first Paradox game that I played. Alright,
But I
again,
never.
sorry I drift off. I actually accidentally paused the pause button or space or whatever the fuck this app is receiving. Anyway, um, I would like to do some comparisons, and I would like to give you my insights on which Paradox game is the best, or if not, which one is better in some ways or lacking in the others. So I think, and I'm gonna say this at the very beginning, objectively speaking, EU4 is the best one. And subjectively speaking, I think EU4 is one of the greatest games that a human ever created. I love the sweets for that. And okay, so you'd have to like consider some things when you're talking about EU4. So basically, it's like 400 years, right? Yep. And HOI4 is like 6 years, and VICKY3 is 100 years. So HOI4 is basically the most user-friendly, and Victoria 3 as well. But I think HOI4 is the easiest to learn and easiest to comprehend inner mechanics, and easier to actually expertise get become an expert of the game. And maybe actually Victoria 3 is better than that, but in my opinion, Hoi 4 is the easiest one. And don't get me wrong, when I say easiest, it's not like you're playing The Last of Us or you're trying to learn Age of Empires 3 or something. No, it's hard, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of brain fucking and brainstorming, I might say. So the problem with Hoi 4 that I have is in this actually. Like, it's 6 years, and it's basically just a wild ride of couple hours that you play. And although, like, a typical HOI4 game that I play is like 2 hours, 3 hours, okay. But a typical U4 game or a Victoria 3 even, it's like 5 hours playing as Russia and trying to modernize the economy, or playing as the Ottomans and like expanding in the Middle East, the Balkans, or colonizing Africa and Indonesia as the Dutch or whatever. So I can I can actually describe EU4 as one word. It's an experience or an adventure, because it certainly feels like it. Like, to this day, actually, when I play an EU4 campaign, I always at the end I get emotional in some sense. Well, since I have like more than 3,000 hours, it's becoming less and less emotional, but I still feel it sometimes. It's maybe it's something about the music, but it's probably about this. What the fuck? It's probably about this great sense of awe and uh, expectation at the beginning of what will happen towards the end. And like Stephen King said, actually, it's never the end that's the prize, it's the journey. You don't actually just play a game or rule your country in EU4. You if you play it good, if you try, it's like your people don't survive. They get rich, they prosper. Uh, and it's like that in some sense in Victoria 3, but HOI4 is basically the best one in terms of uh, army mechanics, the warfare, and well, considering the fact actually you can even actually design tanks now, tanks, planes, heavy, super heavy tanks, whatever, and you can actually experiment and try different combinations or setups with your divisions. And this is the, I think, the most actually captivating thing about these games actually. The more you play, it's like Dark Souls. The more you play, the more you try, the more you understand, and the more you realize that you have a better and more complete grasp of the game and the mechanics. And you basically, when you play it again, you feel like a master, or you actually feel like you master some things that were really hard for you at the beginning. And it's basically why I play Souls games. If you play a Dark Souls game, if you play Dark Souls 1, it's gonna be an interesting and hurting experience. And if you just play it once or twice, it's gonna be like, okay, I don't get it that much. But if you play it more than 5 or 6 times, especially like Bloodborne, you're gonna actually really appreciate the hidden meaning and visions of Miyazaki's universe. And it's really the same in Paradox games. When I play Paradox games, sometimes my friends, like I'm in college, okay, and in the class sometimes it's like it's math class or whatever, and my math is semi good, I think. And even if it's not actually, I try to work at home, like when there's 1 week left. And so we play a couple games. Everybody looks at their phones. Everybody like, oh, okay, bro, let's go have a smoke. Let's like talk to the girls. And I'm actually playing in those times like EU4, HOI4, and sometimes you get like the benefit of hindsight, you might say. I don't know. And some people actually, my friends around me, like, dude, just calm down. Like, you know all the combinations. You're actually, and when I see them actually, I get like, uh, it's like a screech sound that's hurting your brain, because a normal person that doesn't have like more than 500 hours, 300, 500 hours, would actually play it more slowly than we paradox gamers do, we autistic gamers do. But when I actually, let's say I'm playing Hoya 4, I think this is most in Hoya 4, and maybe in some sense in EU4. Always get to a point where you're actually planning 5, 6, 7, 10 times ahead. Because let's say like you're playing Germany, okay? You know you're gonna go to war with the Allies, so you won't have rubber. But if you want to win, you need air, and if you don't have air in the game, you won't win. It's really hard. I mean, you can do anti-air strats, but whatever. If you want to dominate and enjoy it, because of designing planes and actually putting them naval bombers, strategic bombers, and now you have like mothership aircraft, whatever, like nuclear strikes. You have to design a plane and you have to put them in a good amount, because you have to compete with United States, United Kingdom, maybe China, and of course the Soviets. So first of all, like what you do is like you start researching rubber, synthetic rubber, and you do the right focuses, and then you start to build. But if you just build them in the beginning, you're gonna lag behind in your like civilian industry or shipyard, submarine production, whatever. So you have to think that as well. And you're like, okay, I did this all, and I have rubber, but I don't have oil. So what should I do? Maybe I should invade Iran. Maybe I should just immediately go to war with Soviets, or maybe I should like keep it up good with the Soviets and actually trade for more rubber. Or should I actually subjugate Romania? Or is synthetic oil a viable option? It's never a viable option. It sucks. And the same thing actually applies in EU4 as well. So, okay, let's say I'm playing as the Ottomans. Okay, so first thing you do is basically you attack the Byzantines, then uh, you clear up the slums in Anatolia. Why do we do that? Because if you immediately go to war with Epirus or Wallachia, whatever, again, after you declared on a Christian country, you're gonna have to face coalition problems, which is not a real problem, but it's a headache. So you have to basically manage this aggressive expansion bit, attacking the Sunnis, attacking the Orthodox, and then perhaps actually way down the line, actually going down to Persia and Iran, maybe Indonesia. So you have to think these things first, but you have to think about like, okay, I'm gonna need couple estate privileges, but that's gonna actually give debuffs, a lot of debuffs in the short term, and I don't know if I can afford that. And okay, even if I can afford that, do I want to actually get my nobility estate that powerful? And I actually wanted to make trade companies, so should I make states or trade companies? And if I do trade companies, would not be able to convert anything. So if you're doing like a culture conversion one phase front, you can't do that. And even if you do, it's like a lot of micromanaging. Like let's say you go religious as the Ottomans, which you shouldn't do, but for fun I do it. And at a certain point, you have to actually disband all of your trade companies and start over again, like start converting them, and you're gonna have the unrest problems and so on. But you can actually try like I don't know, influence ideas with religious ideas. I think that probably gives, I don't know this, but it probably gives you religious like missionary strength or something. Um, and that would actually help. And or actually you should go down, maybe you should go down to the mission tree. And I'm trying to think something like that in Victoria 3, but nothing comes to mind like this. Well, I do this. Like, I'm not a professional like I am in EU4 in Victoria 3. I like I said, 450, 500 hours. So, let's say I'm playing as Russia. It's the most country that I play in both of these games, in EU4 and Victoria 3. Um, I always try to invite the smaller nations or semi-smaller like Netherlands or Mexico. And so I like subjugate them. But if I wait too long before that, before doing that, because for some reason I want to actually keep my influence higher or whatever, they're gonna become a major power. Japan is gonna be a major power, for example. So actually taking out Japan, if you can, in the early game as a puppet, it's really amazing. It's gonna be amazing in the late mid game or mid late game, because both you actually benefit from the market situation and good relations, and so and they're a puppet. They can't actually declare war on you or anything if you like just keep the liberty desire in check, and they're gonna give a lot of money. And the AI Japan actually goes to more than like 200 million near the end. But if you were playing, it would be a lot higher. Yeah, see, you have to like think about these stuff, and sometimes like you feel like the British and the French ambassadors or the parliament in the Crimean War. They're like, okay, so we don't want to really help the Ottomans. They probably thought, but we don't want a big presence, big Russian presence in the Black Sea anyway. So yeah, if we allow this, maybe we will get better with Russia, but at the cost of what? Dismantling the Ottoman Empire and destabilizing the Middle East, which is bad. Which is bad for money, which is bad for headaches, and which is bad for our basically this status quo, like uh, post-Metternich system, whatever the fuck. So you have to think about all these stuff. So in terms of military, I think Victoria 3 is the weakest. It's just so bad. Like you basically don't have a mechanic. If you can actually supply the troops and do the necessary research, you're gonna win. But no matter what you do, the Brits gonna kick your ass if you don't have any allies or whatever. Even if you're Russia, yeah, you can get like 2,000, 300,000 troops, but if your country is actually lacking in innovation, you're gonna get fucked because those troops are like Ming troops in some sense. They're fucking paper troops. And so, yeah, military in Victoria 3 sucks. Military in EU4, I don't think it's bad. Uh, but it's really predetermined about your ideas, and like this is the problem with basically England, which is one of the most fun nations in EU4. You don't have a morale buff. You have couple discipline, but compared to the French or the Russians, whatever, your army sucks ass, and so you have to always rely on your allies. Yeah, you have like 1 million troops in the field, but French have, with all the buffs combined, they have like plus 30%, 40%, not 40%, probably like 25, 30% morale of armies. You just have a navy sucks ass in EU4 anyway, so there's not much that you can do besides like you have to heavily invest in military and take military techs before everybody else, which I don't like because you waste a lot of mana points. And then maybe you can actually take out the Spanish or the French just before they got the necessary military technology. And HOI4 is the best one in terms of combat. It's basically a World War II military simulator. It's like you can you can actually like design your aircraft carriers, and you can actually design the planes on planes above them as well on them. It's insane, and yeah, you have to like think logistically and resource-wise as well, and but it's not that big of a head start as some other countries have against you, as England, for example, like I said in EU4, because actually even if you have a shitty army, shitty situation at the beginning, like the Soviets, which you have a lot of manpower, but your industry and everything is fucked, and you have to keep up with the Germans, or you're the French, and yeah, I mean, it's in my opinion, it's easier to defeat the AI in some sense in HOI4, but yeah, you have to focus on a lot, and I think it can be overwhelming. And in terms of visuals, actually, HOI4 is probably the best. And Victoria 3, like the out zoom, that not the realistic map, the map when you zoom out with colors and everything, it feels like a better version of the EU4 one. And I hate the EU5 one. I mean, it's such a bad design. It feels like, especially, I hate those fucking portraits. It feels like a Ubisoft game, and yeah, I have problems with EU5, but I won't get to them in this video, in this voiceover, whatever. Yeah, but in terms of overall fun and overall everything, EU4 is the best, but you have to actually be somewhat into pre-modern history, and you have to enjoy the European history in some sense, and I enjoy actually exploring, colonizing, whatever. But if you're a tank weeaboo, whatever, tankaboo, wearaboo, you have to actually probably HOI4 is the best one. Anyway, I digress. I always hate these stupid fucking comparisons, because in the end there's one best one, but it's EU4, but it's gonna be subjective on the both ends. So what I actually try to do is I don't try to make them compete in my mind that much. I try to look at the ups and downs, the pros and cons of each one, and you should try to enjoy them both. Like Victoria 3 is not that of a good game. It was a really bad game, and now it's kind of decent. But I really love it because it's something new, and I love Paradox games, and I buy all the DLC, and it's really fun for me. But it's nowhere half as near as like what EU4 or HOI4 is. That those games, especially Europa Universalis 4, will always be in my heart. And yeah, thank you.